I have your phone, so if you put it to the rescue.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started. Lesley Haynes is not here. She called. Co-chair of Lesley Haynes called, and she's going to be on education today. Roberta Packard has another meeting, and so we're going to start, and we'll be joined by other people later on. So we'll start with silent prayer. Take a few moments to bow your head. Thank you. And we'll get started. This minute that's been passed out from last month, we had a month hiatus. We were off for a month of July, and we kind of lost members. We were going to be meeting going forward every other week. 1 week is the select committee meeting, and next 5 weeks it will be a community meeting like we currently have. What we have been doing, we started with the lack of training programs in the city of Buffalo for minorities. We started with the rally so city because that project came through. The land sold was a 25% minority, 5% women, minority gold. It reduced by Seminole and the union, the Buffalo Building Trade Union, down from 15.5 without approval from the legislator to assign it or from the community knowing about it. So we found out that was happening in these types of meetings. We supported the organization. We have had successful rallies at 125 in the city last October, and a rally at Seminole Construction, and we had one at Roswell Park, and all of those were successful. And by our collaboration, they did jobs for individual communities from Roswell Park. Seminole has been committed to working with outsourced resource sector that's on Gilmore Avenue to make sure that that training program is up and running. And the program introduced our guest, Shelby Track, who's running for Congress. The seat is currently held by Brian Higgins. She's running, so I'll give you a minute to introduce yourself. And
I didn't plan on saying anything. I own Bing's Restaurant, which is over on Kensington in Harlem, over by Cops, in the traffic circle. And I'm very engaged in the community, and I have been, whether it be through my interest in the Paul Society, Rotary Club, and I don't know if you know, but of C. de la Casa, but I was the interim volunteer director when the time came that they were going to close it down and put the people in the streets, and so I stepped up to do that. And I've learned a lot about the community over the years, and I've been reading and following, and Benny's my friend on Facebook, and I really do follow it because there is a need. There's an important need to go from here, and then we seem to forget what's in between, which is us. And then, so I wanted to hear about this, okay? I was on the town board in Amherst, so I understand development, I understand the politicians, I understand the way that it works. And you really do have an issue that needs to be addressed and should be addressed. And I think one thing I always pride myself on being able to do is connect dots. I think Betty will say, even though we don't really know each other, if there's an issue, I'll come up with someone saying, hi, Sean Chef, remember me? How about this, how about that? We may not always come to the same place, but we have to do that to solve the problem. I've driven through the city. And I've done it recently, I've done the parking thing and all, all the cars and everything. And I gotta tell you, it's so disheartening, because you live here, but then take it the next step. Whoever was planning this, say you have a dying relative at the hospital and you want to get this because it's their last minute, where the heck are you going to park? They'll be dead by the time you find a parking spot. And where was that planning, okay? And I'm not saying the development is not good and it doesn't help things, but the planning, you have to include everybody in it. Now, Harlem Road, I don't know, Harlem Road, it was probably about 15 years ago. I was just a restaurant owner, mom, wife, kids. I ended up becoming an activist, probably like you did, because my neighbors kept saying, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? And they were going to put 5 lanes down Harlem Road, from the 33 to Main Street. And what they were going to do was put every little business and every little mom and pop and little house out. So I just picked up the phone and called my board members, the city, I called everybody. They told me to go away. Well, you're nobody. And I just kept fighting. But I didn't fight alone. I really got the community behind me. And that's why I wanted to come in here to see if there's a way that I can help, because regardless whether I go to Congress or not, and I plan on going to Congress, because I really do believe that, the waterfront is beautiful, and, high tide brings, all boats and stuff. Look, the fish don't vote. And high tide, are great, but there's people that live. And it's not just in the city, it's all those like Tonawanda and all around there too. It continues, and it's like, instead of taking stuff down, can we build some stuff up first? Like I asked you this question, and I'm going to ask you too. I was thinking about this because of the water main break that happened about 2-3 weeks ago. Well, it was in Amherst, so we're on funny things in Amherst. Front yard is Cheektowaga, and my zip code's 14215 over on Manhattan, so I'm a little bit of everything. But we didn't have water, but all the businesses didn't have water. They were out of water, and they did the water thing, which is fine. Whatever they did, they did. But I started thinking about that. When you drive to the east side of Buffalo and lower west side, you see all these dilapidated buildings on the outside that should be burned down. I mean, when I say burned down, I mean like a burn from the fire department. Come and safely take them down, let them practice. That's what they do in some towns and cities. Or get rid of them. But what's underneath? If that house is so dilapidated, the infrastructure is dilapidated. So who cares? And that's why I say, I saw what you were doing. I said, it's the plan, and all the dots have to be connected. But it's going to take Betty, it's going to take someone like me, someone like you, from all different parts. If you keep coming from the east side of Buffalo and say, we've got a problem, they're going to say, the east side of Buffalo. But if people start coming from around and saying, no, they have a real, true problem, and we need to address it as a community-wide thing. And that's why I just want to be able to extend my help. I did not come here to give a speech. I'm not wearing my badge. I really came here because it's important. Because if the east side doesn't make it, and the west side doesn't make it, there's thousands of people that don't make it, okay? And then there's those kids that aren't going to make it. And, I'm fortunate. My son, he's okay. He made it. All right? They made it. But we sacrificed a lot, but we made it. So, that's what I'm saying. So I thank you for what you say. Okay. We really can't say that we have to leave this for us. Okay. You told me already.
Yeah. I'm going to do the minutes. I'm going to turn over to Jose, but what I want to say first is, I know there's issues going on. There are issues on Bristol, Lobel, that Stephen had talked about, had a rally. They get the sidewalk. This is a young lady dying because another strode in the street because of the condition of the sidewalk. I know there's issues on Fruitbelt with Veronica Hemphill-Nicholes because of the escalating rent, and she's getting supported in Pennsylvania Street. I know there's some issues on Jefferson Avenue because the money that's been should have been designated Jefferson is not here, and all we have is a promise we're going to build some high-rise apartments that's not owned by us, and we probably can't afford the rent. So there's nothing for the economic development of the community. If you got a rich billionaire building a couple high-rise, who's going to rent? And you have people in the community who probably can't afford the rent because it's escalating. And you have people there who's going to feed from the overflow of the Fruitbelt. That area is building those apartments is a
couple blocks away from the Buffalo Quarry. So are we happy about those apartments being built? Of course we are. Are we settled for that instead of having loans and grants for these businesses to be rehabilitated? Without the council number, we gave each business a $25,000 matching fund so they could do the storefront improvements. They could buy equipment. They could even, one program where they would have workers come in and the state would subsidize the workers so that in business further to be able to hire people and not be work or put into red like you're trying to grow business. You don't see it anymore. You don't see those storefront rehabilitation. Why? The light still comes from the federal government. You still get the HUD money. When the HUD money comes in, when I was council member in 1999, we would get $25 million from HUD in community development block grant funding. And then it was down to $18 million. But then again, something happened where the money that should have been used for the eradication of poverty and life was used instead to guarantee loans for these businesses. For those who remember, several years ago, the official member did was the tomato plant that was called South Buffalo. It was the hydro that was down there. Because we co-signed that loan, we wound up paying $3 or $4 million for that back to her. We had to recommend brewery downtown that went up. We co-signed that, and we were held on and took for that as well. So 1 year, at $18 million, we had to give up front, off the top, $8 million to pay for those loans that went to millionaires for their businesses. And I see how many times we have struggling businesses who want to get a $5,000 loan or maybe a $25,000 loan, can't get it. But yet still we subsidize the billionaires for a project they don't think through, and then once it goes belly up, they just file bankruptcy. Take care of that, and then you'll get another loan from the FDA for another business. So that's why this is not really fair to people and fair to us because money is here to come to Buffalo because the poverty of Buffalo is very with poverty city in the United States. And money's coming, but we're not benefiting from. So we can complain in Veterans, we can complain with CCRC, we can complain with Wheels of Warriors, we can complain with your group, we can complain with Veronica Hemphill-Nicholes group, we can complain with all of us complaining, we'll see people one of today's groups get about it. Because the amount of times all these groups that have complaints, why can't we organize, have an umbrella group that will address all the issues that we're complaining about? And, you want to pay for neighborhoods or your area. We want parity. We want parity in jobs. We want to have equal opportunity. We want to have stable rent and we will be gentrified out of Buffalo. But we're talking in silos, and what's happening is they're listening for one day and they forget about it. So there has to be and the problem is in City Hall, and we're talking Merriweather Library. There's nobody here, but they know to the City Hall, so either they don't know or they don't care. So what happened? We have a poor people's march. And this is one thing that King had talked about before he was assassinated. He had gone from civil rights and gone from human rights to economic rights for poor people. Not just African American or Latinos, but poor people, regardless of their race and regardless of ethnicity. And he was planning a poor people march on Washington, but unfortunately, for us to him to die to the same fruition and that dream died with him. If you could organize all under the umbrella in the late 1960s when he passed on, I think the whole country is in that shape. He was reaching out to people in Appalachia. He was reaching out to the people in Kentucky, the poor people in Kentucky, regardless of their color and race. So we have to really, if we're going to get effective in Buffalo, if we're going to really make a difference. And, I trying to keep the activism in place, but it's kind of hard for me, impressive me with people saying, you're not going to agitate how to get you. You want to go your designated duty to take care of the people that call in for food stamps, those who call in for wigs, those who call in. Why are you sitting here talking about city business? Well, I'm a city resident. I live in the city. And the people that represent the county, they live in the city of Buffalo. So why not try to make life better for us? But there is also a responsibility that you can't expect you really be disappointed in the legislature to be there with that voice and with that bullhorn all the time. Legislators should be standing and supporting and advising and informing, not leading the church. And so it's one of the reasons why I did want to become chairman of the organization, because I'm a legislator and I have to have it very empowered. The whole issue of legal voice is very empowerment. So if we want to be effective, we have to decide what we're going to do. Continue to hold press conference and talk about issues one day. And we want to really make a difference so that we come with a plan that they will know that this is what we want on the east side of Buffalo. This is what we want on the lower west side. This is what we want in Fruitbelt. So they're a little disappointed that people didn't turn out. I'm glad that you're here today. And so what I want to do is turn it over to Roberta so I can take a minute. And you can have those who are here. Because I have ladies like Lisa and Janice who want to speak to talk about. I'll bring it back. Saturday. And so this is just use it as a time we can say what the problems are, how we see we can address them, and what do we need to do to get there. And I think that we could just organize before the weather changes a march on City Hall. That is going to affect us. That is going to take a little more than us, but this is the seed, okay? So I'll turn it over to Roberto, and if you want to talk about anything, this is your time.
Jose. Lesley.
I'm used to saying that word, I'm sorry. I'll turn it over to Jose.
At our last meeting last Thursday, it was a pretty good meeting. We didn't have a large turnout, but we had a lot of people who had something to say about why they were a part of the group. And it went well. And one of the things that came out of it was, where are we going as a group? You know, what are we going to do? Okay? So one of the things that I suggested at the last meeting was that the leadership meet, okay, before this meeting, okay, and try to come up with some kind of a plan of action as to where the group is going to be going, or what are we going to be doing. We met yesterday over at Wendy's, and we had a little mix-up that Betty Jean wasn't able to be at the meeting. It was myself, Alberto, and Lesley. And we met over at Wendy's, and we came up with some suggestions that we passed on to Betty Jean. And one of the things was that Lesley Haynes, Charlie Fisher had stepped down as the chairman of the organization, and Lesley was, then moved up because she was the co-chairperson. So at the meeting, Lesley said that she would step down as the co-chairperson, okay, and that we would need to identify somebody to take the chairperson, the chairman's role, because we don't have a chairman. Charlie.
There's co-chair. He was in the chair, but he's the chair, but he's co-chair.
Yes. Well, we don't have any coaches. So that's one thing that we need to do. We need to identify someone who's going to be the co-chairperson, the number one co-chairperson for the group. Okay, some of the things that Eugene talked about, that we want to be a more organized group. Okay, we need to set some timelines on things that we said we're going to do. Like, Lesley has a whole list of people that have been contacted regarding contract compliance, okay, regarding different projects. but we haven't done any follow-up on that. So we don't know what the status is of the different contracts that are out there. Are they meeting the minority goal or not? There's a lot of things that we need to do. So we need to set a timeline as to follow up on these the projects. One of the things is that we wanted to see if we could set up a meet and greet kind of meeting that we would meet with the community and just explain what the group is all about, okay, and then get some ideas from the community about what's going on and what we should be focusing on.
Okay, so most people here are not confined to people who have their own organizations.
Yes.
The same because the call was to organize for us at the United Rally. And for that, I'm going to turn over to the community to see if there a willingness to hold such a rally, if the willingness to have sort of a collaboration of all different groups together. As I represent Wheel of the Warriors, Contract Defiance, and what's the other one? No, I had three. Contract Defiance, Wheel of the Warriors. Oh, Buff Figures. Yes. Yeah, so what I want to do is see if we can talk about what issues out there. You're here to youth as well as I see there's a need for some more unified, collaborative meetings coming up. So if anybody wants to talk about their initiatives, their group or the things that they have done so far, and should we meet to organize this, could you please raise your hand if you can allow you to speak.
Hi, my name is Rhonda Moss-Lee. I've been an activist probably 30 years and more with Ms. Grant. And what she was talking about, we have done a lot of fighting out in these different things.
You want to talk about the Lucas program and the ACPN?
Right. I was the president of the Pathways to Lucas Coalition. We had the Pathways cleaned up at 858 East Ferry Street. And which took like 5 years to get done. We had organized, there was a lot of people, but Ms. Grant was the one that initiated. A lot of people come to her store and they had looked at this, she called me. So we went door to door, and come to find out within 3 blocks, there was 28 of us that had looked at those that went wide. So we did billboards, we did a lot of meetings, we came up with different organizations to help us. And I have belonged to a lot of organizations and things that happened, but I wanted to say nothing sort of cancer are coming back on me. So I've been out this fight in a long time. I've backed away for many years because I got tired. I do stay on Bristol, and I've been in that area for 48 years. In section rate to 48 years. I was one of the tenants, and some things were going on in our neighborhood, and they went down. They go down. But we do have a lot of toxic waste sites. It was 5 of them, like in 1 mile in our area. And we are about to fight about the one on Urban Street because we need that paper on there. So, what started was the sidewalk on Bristol, which I've been fighting to get for almost in between anywhere from 13 to 15 years. It's sad. It's really sad. So, but when the baby got killed behind me, which is Moselle, and they took a motion when we were all out there fighting, I left it to the younger crew to keep going on. I can't do it like I used to. But we are trying to get organized again. What she was saying, we were just talking about the damage thing. We were just talking about trying to get, like she said, everybody to be under one umbrella. We all need to come together. And I was going to held a meeting at Crucial, which I was board member there for 18 years. So we were trying to get this together, try to get all the ones from peacemakers, Mad Dash, which I was involved in all of them, and try to get them all together instead of everybody just spread out. So I think that would be one way you can reach a lot of, but a lot of them are getting grant money, so they don't want to step on toes. Okay? That's the problem.
And that's one of the problems that's going to prevent us from being effective, because most of your high-profile organizations get money to do street patrols.
Right,
They get money to be quiet.
right.
When they come in and they start talking, and they go to the person's profile, then they get a call saying, well, you know what, if you would, join this and, put this on your umbrella, then you would just, that's why my organizations that I have don't get grant money from the city or the county or the state, I would get it because it keeps you from being affected. So that's how traditionally have brought that.
That's keeping us apart, though.
Yes, it is.
And they know what they're doing, they know what they're doing. So they're giving a little $2 here and there, and people up under they getting paid, but they're getting paid, but look at the neighborhood, look what's going down, and they do not come together at all. So we do have some people that do not care or always trying to fight, like Taniqua, you know, we were talking and she got in, and I'm glad she did, but she's a powerhouse. And we went to City Hall, we raised some cane, we came out there late on the steps, we have been out there trying to fight and do what we're doing, we're gonna do film on districts, and like I said, so I can't get in, run for councilman over there. So basically, we were trying to get people to run for councilman in different areas, who care for the area, not to get a paycheck. This is my problem with a lot of people now. They just want a paycheck. Once they get their money, they don't think about it. When they get voted in, they don't think about it no more. I got tired of fighting by myself and a lot of things, so I'm glad I got a group of young, as they say, young visionaries, and they want to get involved in trying to help with our neighborhood. I'm going to let Taniqua talk. My baby girl.
Have you on hold on?
I'm a vessel. Model's behind me.
I did the feelings.
Right, yeah, right.
And I went but I also asked the contractor, because some of you live around here, they said no. I said, what do you think? He said, this is really bad. I said, what do you mean it's really bad? He said, it's really been ignored. So, and I asked them where they live, so they, so they see it. So I'm not trying to take over your meeting.
Go ahead.
The thing that I've learned to get things accomplished, okay, and that is dead on. Once you're in a position, everything comes thrown at you. The key is to find the people that connect the dots, okay? And then she becomes, she can do what she needs to do. The problem is that, and what I'm going to say is, please don't take this the wrong way, but just tell you what I'm thinking, okay? Going and laying in City Hall for getting a month to hold your breath, because they don't care. None of them care. I mean, I'm on Kensington, and I'm speaking from my heart, please. I'm talking what I'm thinking. I look and I say to myself, at the east side of Buffalo, and I look at who represents you, and I say this to my customers. My customers are black, okay, and I'm white, we're best friends. I go, how's it going in the city? They go, who represents you? You know. I said, if they're your people and they're not helping you, we need to get rid of those people.
Right.
And that's just me. All right? And they agree with me. They said the problem is, though, a lot of people work in the city, work for the county, they're afraid they're going to not have a job. But I say, you don't tell them what you're doing. Yeah, okay, fine. When you go to vote and get them all out, the ones that you know that aren't there. But just quiet. You want to just do it on your own and say, okay, we got this. And just go change that part. But the other thing is that the billionaires and the developers that you're talking about, I work with a lot of them because I learned that I don't have the power with the politicians. They do. And if we're people of integrity, which I assume you all are, all right, and how we approach them, asking them to please help us. 9 out of 10 times, they will help you. They don't want to deal with the government because it's just a bunch of red tape, a bunch of crap. They take their ribbon cutting, they get their names in the paper, and it's in a bad light, so they say, no, we're not helping. I don't want my name in the paper. These things like the Simonelli now, whatever they're doing is right or wrong. My point is, they don't want their businesses in the paper. And I learned this the hard way, but I also learned it when I was in government. Example. Now I'm going to say a name, and you're going to hate him, and that's okay. But Carl Palladino. No. Now listen to what I have to say. to know him. Every time and I met him the first time on the phone about development because they wanted to do something on Harlem Road, and I said, oh my God, you're going to kill the neighborhood. You can't do this. Anyway, he didn't do it. He said, fine, we'll freeze it. He never saw me. I didn't see him. I got a phone call a couple of years ago about one of the schools in the city that there were 80 families that didn't have cold food. You know, they didn't have anything. They didn't have any holiday stores or anything. I called and said, I need help. I said, can you reach out to your people? See, the people, just because you don't like them or agree with them, or you think they're one way, okay, that may be how they come off, but in here, they're still people. And most people, 99% of the people care about the kids today. They will do anything for kids, all right? So, and they'll hold the family together if they came from a good family. He's always come around. If it wasn't for him, I could not have saved David. Because he had all the dots I needed to connect with. I need this, I need that. Those, you have them, you have all these big billionaires. If you can put your plan together, how you want to do it, and meet with them privately, and you get someone to connect the dots. Meet with them privately and say, please help us. Now you've opened the door.
But if their plan is to not include you,
It doesn't
you understand what I'm saying? It's like if you're a conflict to what they're doing, they're not gonna. Oh, they're gonna say they're gonna help you, but if you're the person standing in the way of their, or you may not even be standing in the way, but you might be an instrument.
I understand, but the difference.
That's a conflict on their part. They're not gonna
There's
conflict themselves.
a difference to this. Because this study started by you organizations and stuff. Think about the organizations outside of the city that help you. Immediately I wrote down, St. Nicholas Health Department, Catholic Charities, Jewish Family Services, you go on and on of all the organizations that help you. Like the people that are part of those organizations don't live in the East Side. You don't need East Side people to support you. You need all people that understand, okay? But to do that, and the hardest thing to do that is to trust one another and say, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to make those inroads, baby steps. And it can be done. I've seen it done.
Oh, I believe what you're saying, but I'm just saying certain individuals just don't have interest in.
You're always going to have certain individuals, okay? But when they realize that the people that, for example, take any developer, right?
I get you.
Any developer develops all over. If the people come out and say, this part is important to us, and we support you over here and there and there, now all of a sudden you have an audience.
You have an ally.
You have an ally.
Got it.
And that's why, believe me, I get mad at people, I say things, people say things to me, and you want to kill people, it's like, say that, really. But you have to stay focused on the goal. And you have a very big goal here, but it's a realistic one. It's real. And you're right, it's got to be done.
Questions I'm trying to get in context around the contract compliance. Is this contract for minority businesses or small businesses, or is it also for the residents being hired?
Well, contract compliance really should be anything and everything that we've been, find out about. Okay, we've been concentrating a lot on the construction projects, but that's where the most money is and the most jobs.
When you say compliance, are there laws on the books, and if so, what are those laws?
Yeah, there's federal and state laws, and most contracts are supposed to have a certain percentage of minority workers and minority contractors.
And those are state, city, or county, right?
They're all federal, state. Each level has their own laws.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, is there a list of projects that are supposed to have certain wages? So Davis-Bacon is more of a federal law. I'm not sure if Buffalo has any local laws that are due or supposed to be enforced, for contracts to be in compliance.
Yes, Buffalo had a law to put in place on the Johnson construction project in 2002.
2005. So they're supposed to be in compliance. Then the union said they were going to sue that had to get a security study done in order for the law to get enforced. So the county, the city passed the law, but they didn't do the security study. And so when we first organized last year, we had asked Council President to be a support here for the security study. Now, when that law passed, Niagara was not in favor of it. Then it cost by $35,000 to do it now, it's $25,000. So we can't get our commissioners to commit to spend that funding for the security law. So when you don't have security study that is, the minorities are being discriminated against. They're not being hired, they're not being trained, other training programs not being Buffalo. So if there's security study to be done, the union, they feel, and the contract, companies feel to honor and recognize the laws in the state.
And do they have a loophole in it? So, again, just, so, my name is Rodriquez. I've been out of Buffalo for almost a decade now. What I have been doing is, and I just happened to start my safety officer too, I started a little bit, I saw this is a challenger, plus I saw people eating say, let's do fun. And I know people do. But, for the last probably 8 years, I've been in Washington, D.C., really working around compliance issues. So, from a federal, state, and D.C. has a lot of, well, not state, but they have their own laws that are due to be enforced that city council does. So they have a $13 billion budget with probably another $100 billion in construction going on all the time. And I work with all of the high developers, and their argument is we can't find the people. But then I work with the programs as well as the administrative grant programs, et cetera, as well as working with the apprenticeship offices to make sure that people are being pipelined into programs to get the opportunities. So I'd like to know and get access to some of the legislation and to kind of do a comparative analysis myself. Because I think it all revolves around the legislation.
Right. Did you get that? I'm glad you back to Buffalo. And we got to see you. Because as you know, with the minority contract not working, and this will not be, I don't have anybody in my family who wants to get down in contracting or construction, but I'm here for the community is not here for itself. And so I can give you information. There's 2 county laws for the past 2. One is for apprenticeship training program, and one is for minority women that's passed by the county. So I would hope that you would continue to be with us, and I'll leave my name and email address and you have to download before this meeting. But there's a guarantee of interested Buffalonians coming and fighting for themselves. And it's frustrating to see the conversation community that we don't have this or they have that and nobody cares about us, we do not do. But we're trying to get mobilized and empowered. Where is it?
Yeah, and it is a disconnect.
It is.
I think the difference between, well, there's quite a few differences between Buffalo and D.C., but one of the major differences is a meeting like this, you have to have people standing outside to do something.
It should be. It should be.
But they do a heck of a job in, grassroots organizing with programs and people. So I'd like to be assistant and to be clear as well for Belmont. So,
You were asking about the contracts in the city. Is there information about,
specifically the name of the legislation that's supposed to be.
Okay, but also there, Alberto is looking online with the city information to try to get a listing of all the city contracts, construction projects that are let out.
That's what you do is get his name, his phone number, his email address, everything you get from him, you and everything work together.
Yeah, but I'm saying for everybody here too, that, that's what we want to do. We want to get a listing of all the contracts that the city is putting out there, and then you know, we can see how much money is going out and whether the minority community is getting it.
Well, we know it's
No, it's not a lot, but we need documentation.
Oh,
We're gonna fight, we gotta fight with some,
All we need is expertise of what he has.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So if you get names and type all information, and maybe y'all can have a phone conversation for the next meeting, so we can work here and make, for the next meeting, we work here.
I wrote it down, okay.
Since right there, you have to take it.
Oh, this one.
Y'all make it,
Now, just to, I recently went through, I have a roofing company, and we were going through Buck State, to take the certification classes so that we could become, so that I could become a minority women-owned business. But in taking those classes, and the reason that you don't have a lot of minority contractors, and the reason that there's this big disconnect between minority contractors and their ability to get these contracts is the process. The process is extremely stringent, and it's pitted toward people who already have money. Like, in order to get your certification, you need to be in business for a year. You need to be able to show your books. A lot of minority-owned businesses, they may be smaller. They may not have all of their paperwork in line. I mean, it's extremely difficult to get that certification. It is, and you have to have money. You have to be in business for a year. You have to have your banking information, your financial planning. You have, in some cases, you have to be bonded, and these are all processes in which they control. So you can't, I mean, I just want to speak on behalf of the community because it is extremely, the process is extremely intimidating. And it's like they could make it easier. I mean, if you want to be more inclusive, but that whole process of becoming certified to make sure that you're truly a minority-owned business, that just makes it more difficult for you to be a minority-owned business.
Are these union connected?
The one I went through was through Turner Construction. So I don't believe that it had anything to do, it wasn't sponsored by the union, it was sponsored by Turner, which is one of the larger contractors. I mean, they've been in business over 100 years. So, I mean, they're trying to get inclusion, and it seems like it because they offer these great classes, and they offer you all of this information, but it has to go a step further. They have to be able to bridge those gaps that you would have because you're economically disadvantaged. If they're not helping you with that aspect of the process, we're not going to be there. I mean, and there were women, and these were white women, and their husbands own construction companies. So now they send them through, they're able to get that paperwork, they're able to have lawyers on deck, they're able to have accountants so that when it's necessary to go through the process, it's very easy. But when you're a smaller minority-owned business, you don't have access to accountants. You don't have access to bonding, and all of these things are contingent upon you getting that status. So that's why we're not able to meet those numbers, period.
Some of that, just in my experiences, some of it, not all of it, can be through organization intelligence and thought. So in order to fight the machine, you need people. Like, and the people come from, so one thing I began to do there is tap into resources that I have attorneys from Georgetown, and I have told to come out for free, pro bono.
That's what we're going to need. That's what it's going to take.
You know, $600,000 to buy me, but there are attorneys who, listen, we'll do these things and these things, and so there's ways.
You can connect with that.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
You have to have a clear understanding of what the legislation says, right? The legislation itself is only going to be enforced if people are thoroughly prepared. I get a lot of people in the nonprofit world like, oh, we didn't get this grant, we didn't get this grant. If they ask for your audited financials and you don't have audited financials, what's in that alone? If they ask you to write a 30-page grant, I just submitted a team submitted a proposal, and as the team lead, I told her, hey, they asked for 30 pages, this is 43. Oh, no, kick right out. We were guaranteed almost to win the contract. And it was 43 pages. And it's the little simplistic things, as well as the organizing that help make things easy, but there are resources that will avail themselves. Now, is it going to be completely easy? No. I mean, the game is kind of weighted towards...
But see, when you're in a community that is disjointed and everything is contingent upon dissemination of information, it's lots of ways to make sure that I'm giving the facade that I'm being inclusive, I'm giving the facade that we're pushing this information out, when in all actuality, they're not. I mean, we have all of these things that require community and public input, but that don't make the news. You know what makes the news? This shooting makes the news. That shooting makes the news. So there are resources out there, but the average person cannot connect those dots. And the average person shouldn't have to connect those dots if we are really trying to be included. But we're not, and that's what makes the community not show up, because after 15 years, 20 years, you get run down, and these people are paid. I mean, we're coming to me and we're not getting paid. They're paid to make sure that you're not included and that you're uninformed. And at this point, that's why they have some groups that they give money to and some groups that they don't, because they're controlling everything, because they're controlling the money. And at the end of the day, money talks.
And you said information.
Information, yes.
Is power. And if you don't have
it,
about it, and you don't have anybody in a position to give you that information, so you just ignorant. So you just, you
don't know.
And just in that same circle. But like I said,
I think that's what it goes back to what you were saying. Where are the contracts being released? So again, DC is totally different because everything is at the hand of city council. Everything. And you do like this, and people organize very thoroughly there. You do like this city council job.
But see, DC and Buffalo, we are extremely oppressed.
No, they're different. The reason I was citing that is, like, with an organizer piece of it. But I'm saying that the other component of it is where are the contracts? And then, years ago, I was in the sprinkler community, right? You know how I got in the sprinkler community? There was a little paper on the west side, because they have to advertise to minorities. I would have never picked this paper up, but I wasn't at It Was True Value and started looking through it. What? I was thinking like this, $11.50 an hour, I said it. And, sprinkler said this is really interesting union to be in. Very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. And I did it for a period of time. But they advertised it. But how many people pick it up the West Side Times or whatever it was advertising? But now as I began to understand how the system, if you will, communicates, then I have to be an evangelist for young men to say, hey, listen, there are plenty of opportunities in Buffalo. I mean, 4 of my close friends, all are in the union. Plumbers, electricians, cousins, all have...
In Buffalo?
In Buffalo. Yeah, and we've been in the union since, I've stepped out, I'm in another union now, but stepped out and did something different. But the access to the information, so when you find out what the contract is, I'm emailing the government office, all right, can you tell me who won the contract? Because I want to know Freedom of Information Act. You can publish their proposal. I need to see this information, because as I can track down the information.
But I think one thing, though, that you're talking about is really important, is that when you find that information, as a group, now you start documenting. Don't go back anymore. Don't go look back at what happened. Build your own. That's what we did in the Harlem World. We said, okay, because everyone told us you're never going to stop it. They said, mind your own effing business, blah, 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 blah. We said, we're going to find our way. And we just kept going. And you write the new rules. And once you wrote it, interestingly enough, the New York State DOT came in, stood in the middle of Harlem and Kensington. We had 7 corners on a blizzard day, and we almost blown off the street and said, we get your point now. Thank you. We almost got killed, but they got our point. But we voted, the community did, and it was just as hard as you, even over the 3 suburbs put together. And we had the city too, because it affected Kensington too. I gotta be honest with you, it's just like, is anyone going to show up, or is it things like people, and we start to get discouraged, and we can't get discouraged. But these issues are big ones, and these sound like it's going to be a real good dot connector. So it's helpful.
I don't think it's all about connecting the dots to a certain extent. People they're going to give out contracts to who they want to. No matter how exacting you put things in. I remember, I don't know if this still goes on today. I remember years ago you had a situation where if there was about minority contracts and everything, there were people going in, there were white people going in saying, okay, I'm Irish or I'm Italian, which is minority, yes, but it was kind of a slick, tricky way of them getting a contract because obviously a black or Hispanic wasn't going to get it.
Well,
all right.
I was contracted to climb up for 6 months, and this guy came in with a very exciting name. on his designation here, this was native nurse. And so I said, well, it could be, but in this case, I went to FFA, who was approving the payment, and saying, what documentation this gentleman had to indicate he was native nurse? He said, oh, he came in and said he was. Yeah. Nothing. So I'm saying, so make long story short, we have the black mayor, we have a black council president, also the elder district, we have 2 other council members, National District, University District, and then we have 2 districts that have white council members, but the majority of that district are African Americans. So I'm kind of surprised. 5 of the 9 either African American council members or who are representing African Americans. Then we have the mayor. My concern is that why are we begging? Right. For our community is in City Hall already. Why are we begging? We are holding accountable. We don't say, well, wait a minute, Councilman Bingo, or Councilman Chris, or Councilmember.
See, there's part of like when D.C. had Marion, you were D.C. Marion Barry put blacks in the unions back in the 80s and 90s. I've seen that firsthand. I used to drive flatbed. I would deliver prefab construction stuff to when they were putting up the government building. Barry paid for that. They went after him. Okay, and I'm not saying he wasn't responsible at all, but they went after him. Byron is kind of a scary guy. They're going to go after him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has definitely heard short of African building.
Mm-hmm.
We have automatic 10% set aside. And then when after this too, of course,
Yep.
you have to have a big seat in neighborhood enforcement. But Andrew Young, and Mayor Jackson,
Yep, that's another one. Yep.
In order for this committee to leave power to get benefits, we have to have people in the mayor's office committee.
Mm-hmm.
So when I criticize the lack of minority participation and legislation not making sure this committee is taken care of, I'm a kind of we don't have anything to do with contract, unless it's accountability. And we're trying to make them in compliance. So you have Republican majority legislators. There's very few items that we can pass through. But I have passed in the legislature for a year to match 30% that Coleman put for minority participation in New York State. We want to mirror it in New York County, take it from 50 to 30%. Where is that resolution? Because we don't have a majority to bring it out. So, but he has a majority of council members who should say, if I don't put out for those who elect me, or I represent the majority of, then I might lose my job this time around, if somebody's going against it, just do lose their job, then I'm doing it. We don't have a commitment not only for them to represent African Americans, but from African American council members. And when I call it, when I see so vocal saying this, I get more pushback from people in the community that why are you picking on the mayor? I don't understand it.
People are ignorant.
He's the one who can change it, not me, but him.
But you're not the one. He's in trouble. You're not the one that's picking on him. You can't put him in jail. There's people investigating him. Okay, so.
That's going to do what he does, and now that he does,
Right. He hasn't done anything. It's people investigating him. So there's. Right.
For us to have a black married Russell for 12 years running and not running years out.
Exactly.
Well, that's why he was put there. He was put there with a black face on. That's why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Developers and put them there. They are representing their constituents. Whoever puts them there, that's who they're representing, because they're not representing us.
I did leave my information.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
I am in the city halfway.
Now, we need to end. 6 o'clock, 2 weeks from today. If you're in town, we'll come by. Because I think he could provide a lot of insight and a lot of information that we need to get ourselves mobilized for that. I got a big mouth, but I'm very good about the contract process. Okay, thank you.
So, Gina, if we're talking about marching on City Hall, we plan that. Because we just can't say we're gonna march on City Hall and not have any structure to what we're gonna do. And that's how many people are we gonna get out?
That's why I said start early. We can get people out. We have to get the information and let the people know what's going on. They'll show up.
But we have to be organized about it. We can't just say, let's go down there and not plan.
Okay, what is your the number one most important thing, first time? Because I think people need to know, they need to say, we're marching for, what's the biggest thing?
The biggest thing is lack of resources being directed on the east side and the west side of the road. That is, as I said, we've had two cuts of $1 billion coming across there. And with the drug construction, they said, okay, this money is coming, have money. And we're going to guarantee, when the money comes, we're going to guarantee there'll be 8 billionaires of minority ethnicity when it's over with. Guess what? The money was spent, utilized. Not one African American got $1 million. If they got $100,000 profit on each price. So that's $1 billion sale. We've got another $1 billion coming in where it's $750,000 geared towards those cities. That's been spent. So they lost $750,000 already this year. Million. Yeah, a million. That's the first million. I'm sorry. So make no for short. There's another.
For anybody, is it for business owners or to rebuild the community?
The number one problem.
We got Jefferson Ave. Not being, so I said, look,
Or don't like see it, but I'm just saying what I'm saying is that, because when I drive through, or I'm thinking to myself, how can you ever build up a community if you wake up and go,
yeah, and that's what we're doing. We're Jefferson.
Right, so the focus is the billions, right? You're talking about billions, are you going to that money?
That money is designated, there's money coming in every single year, and that's why I said they don't want local poverty to be improved, because if poverty is improved, money starts coming in. So money starts coming in every single year.
You know what, this is my philosophy, if the poverty is improved, the elected officials that you don't like today, okay, don't have everyone to vote for them. That's involved. And that's it, in a nutshell. Keep them where they are, and I'll keep my job. And the cities, the people in the cities, yes, there's bad people in every city. Everywhere there's bad people. But the majority of the people that I come in contact with in the U.S. are all good people. They want their kids to go to school. They want a good job. They want a nice house. They want to take care of it. But for some reason, it's like this cloud that can go.
Oh, it's not for a reason. It's the people who are in place ensure that, I mean, if you're getting money to combat blight and poverty, but you're putting it in every other community outside of where the blight and poverty is, that's a problem. They're using this money that they were given for blight and poverty and pushing everyone out.
Keep voting these people in. That's the problem. We've got to get them. They've got to. I mean, again,
Most people don't understand exactly why these exist.
And I don't know how you get that for.
I thought it'd be good. I haven't told half. I'm trying to pass towards some activism on. I'm glad to see. And one reason why I decided for this meeting and rallying to City Hall is because.
It's an article that came out in the Challenger, actually, by a lady named Charlotte Keith. It's titled, "Is Buffalo Failing to Enforce City Diversity Law?"
Yes, I was going to say, Charlotte had been at our meetings. She's been at our meeting all year. So a lot of stuff that she had put in, and when the best day supposed we have already, she gave us the information before this organization in the first place. We're very familiar with the writing. But you get everybody a copy if you want to.
Okay. But I don't know if she proceeded to do something about the information that she was, building on in that article. But when I, read that article, me and my partner had did some research about the actual law sections that, the situation is dealing with, and, we seen in the city charter, in the Buffalo City Charter, that it was a section in the Buffalo City Charter that dealt with, apprenticeship programming, basically all
But when they talk about the individual activities that you're dealing with, they wanna make sure that they say Fruitbelt. So when I hear it, I'll be like, oh, that's in the Fruitbelt, it doesn't concern me. But
Now, okay.
Well, thanks to Open Buffalo. But the thing is that, you know, and people, I know they pretty much heard, you know, about what's going on with me and stuff like that with the rent hike and things of that nature. And I had a conversation with you because the rent hike there's a purpose behind it.
yeah,
Okay?
absolutely.
It is. There's a purpose behind it, and the door is closed. The Crystal People Stokes is behind the rent hike, okay? And not because I ran against her a couple of years ago. It's all because the private investors that they're purchasing of the property in the Fruitbelt, they go by the name GPT Holdings. It's really owned by this guy, Peter Jones. He's an investor. He has a partnership with Matthew Instice on a medical campus to provide upscale housing for employees, you know, that's moving into the area. And so the thing about the land trust, which everybody needs to rally behind it because we're getting it in the Fruitbelt and it could spread throughout other neighborhoods.
Right.
And basically what that is that a neighborhood organization decides to buy and selling of land within their community. Okay, so it stops the gentrifying, it stops the speculating. You know, Push has one, and our organization is working with them to develop it, which is the reason why Crystal People Stokes made that call to my landlord. You know, I met her on a Saturday. By that Tuesday, I get that letter. Okay. Now they were supposed to go around purchasing vacant homes, you know, rehabbing them, and, you know, and the rent for a flat is $900 to $1,000, a single is $1,400 a month. It was no big deal. We welcomed them into the neighborhood. When they purchased the vacant house next to mine, they knew mine was occupied. They told me, we're not trying to displace people, we're just trying to do the right thing. And we will not raise your rent. They honor that up until after I had that conversation with Crystal. So at any rate, immediately I knew, and immediately we moved on, and because the Fruitbelt is pretty much a hot story with any journalist, I definitely took advantage of that, you know. So now it's just going crazy, and I even gave them the manager's phone number because they wanted to get his side of the story. I didn't think it was right not to leave them out, you know. So anyway, so it's exploding, and last night I was at work, but we had our first teach-in for the land trust because we're building the capacity to do it. Push is going to, we're going to work through Push because they have a land trust like I mentioned before. And so it's moving forward. One of the things I found interesting about this organization, well not this organization, but this private investor, and I need to look into it, is Pridgen put a moratorium on the city-owned land in the Fruitbelt. However, PGT Holdings was able to purchase a property on High Street from the city auction in October. This past October.
Wow.
Yeah, I just learned that, so that's pretty interesting because see, if the neighborhoods organize themselves as a land trust neighborhood, it thwarts the plans that political grassroots and the developers have, you know, for buying out the east side neighborhood. They stand to make a lot of money off this, here. So that's the major thing. And when you talk about progressive, I mean, we had to work very hard pushing back, you know, the sale of McCarley was one of them. You know, it took us 3 years, but we won that battle, you know, keeping down from tearing down any more structures, especially breaks historic structures.
Right.
It took us a while, but we had to beat that back. And so, and then also we were, my co-captain wrote a grant for the Western New York Preservation, and we got that award. And soon we're going to be working on, we hired out preservation studios to do an intense level historic study of our neighborhood, but it's not just structures, but it's also community, culture, you know, things of that nature, because that also gives us credence to take it to a state level as far as being designated a historical community. And there's some benefits to it, and we're working out the details as far as like the negative impacts of it. But also, and I can't remember offhand, but there's a national, registry for endangered communities, because we are an endangered community. And with this intense level study, that'll help us get that designation as an endangered community. So, we're attacking it on different levels, because you have to, the devils are in the details. You know, so this is the progression, movement that we're working on right now.
Right, I can see Fruitbelt, and they're not very happy with it. I can see them on each side have to use this issue and have you open Buffalo. Is there any way that we can incorporate and kind of expand them so they can work with the
Oh, yeah, I'm working with John too. We're trying to bring the land trust